Back to Panem we go.
Back to Panem, but this time it's a little different.
Way before Katniss, yeah. We're talking like 50 years after that first rebellion fizzled out. District 12, Reaping Day.
10th Hunger Games, to be exact.
Oh, right, the 10th one.
Big
And
say.
it also happens to be, well, someone's birthday.
Young Haymitch Abernathy's birthday, no less.
Setting the scene nice and early, giving us all the context.
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
All right, welcome back to Witter.
Witter.
Yeah, Witter. Short for Who Has Time to Read.
Ah, catchy.
It is catchy. And it's the perfect place for our deep dives, right? It's for those of us, who just don't have time to read the whole darn thing.
Guilty as charged.
Me too. But hey, that doesn't mean we can't be in the know.
Absolutely. Got to stay sharp, keep up with the book club conversations, impress the in-laws.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling Sunrise on the Reaping. The latest from, drumroll please, Suzanne Collins.
Back to Panem we go.
Back to Panem, but this time, it's a little different.
Way before Katniss, yeah. We're talking like 50 years after that first rebellion fizzled out. District 12, Reaping Day.
10th Hunger Games, to be exact.
Oh, right, the 10th one.
Big
And
say.
it also happens to be, well, someone's birthday.
Young Haymitch Abernathy's birthday, no less.
Setting the scene nice and early, giving us all the context, even before the games kick off.
And there's already this weight, this feeling, from the history.
Oh, yeah, right from the get-go. We're in the seam, the poorest part of District 12, and there's this aura around Haymitch's family, the Abernathys.
Troublemakers back in the day.
Big time. And there are whispers, rumors, saying they still carry the scent of sedition.
Scary and seductive in equal parts, as the book puts it.
And then there's Lenore Dove, this close, friend of Haymitch's.
Oh, yeah, and her possible connection to the Chance family, another bunch known for their, shall we say, rebellious tendencies.
Makes you wonder about the Capitol's grip, doesn't it? Maybe it's not as tight as they like everyone to believe.
Not as ironclad as they think. And the way Haymitch and Lenore interact, it really sets the stage for this whole fragile pre-games world, right?
Totally. Like their first meeting is over a dictionary. Seems pretty normal, right?
Dictionary.
Yeah, but it's like this spark between them. They create their own little world, especially considering Lenore's, she's quite shy in public.
The book mentions she's terrified to sing in front of people.
Yeah, but then when they're alone, she's so insightful. Even questions things like, the reaping? Does it even have to happen?
I mean, Haymitch just assumes it's a given on his birthday every year.
Right. But she points out it's only been around for 50 years. 50 years. Makes you think.
And they have this slang they use from the covey. All fire.
Their own little language.
A little spark of rebellion, almost. Just in their understanding. It's small, but it feels so significant in that context,
Totally agree. It's like in this world where everything's controlled, this little bit of shared language, shared meaning, it's human. It's like a tiny act of resistance.
But their relationship, it's not exactly celebrated in their community.
Oh, not at all. Lenore's uncle, Clerk Carmine, he's not a fan.
He seems very suspicious of Haymitch.
With the Abernathy name and those whispers about Lenore maybe being related to the Chances. The Chances, remember, reeking of sedition. Carmine probably thinks Haymitch is just asking for trouble.
It really shows the pressure in District 12, doesn't it?
Oh, big time. Even personal relationships can become this target for the peacekeepers. Just a reminder of who's really in control,
The Capitol's ever-present enforcers.
Exactly. But even with this disapproval hanging over them, Lenore becomes this rock for Haymitch. As the reaping gets closer, he sees her, and she's fine and grim in this roughly apple red dress. Such a contrast to the fear everyone's feeling,
Right. The atmosphere's so heavy, this forced respect for the Capitol's war dead. You'd think District 12 hadn't suffered any losses of their own.
It's all about the Capitol's narrative, their control. It's chilling.
And even Haymitch's birthday presents from his mother, you see it there too.
Flour sacks, practical stuff. But then this tiny cake, Not even enough for the whole family. Gotta save the energy for New Year's, his mom says. Scarcity, even on a day that should be happy.
It fits the scene so well.
And then we meet the other kids from District 12. You know, the ones who'll play a part in Haymitch's story.
Burdock, Blair.
Merrily, Maisley, Donner. Then the names are drawn.
And right away, Woodbine, another boy from the seam, gets picked.
Haymitch feels this relief, but then guilt, knowing what Woodbine's facing.
And then something crazy happens.
Drusilla, the Capitol representative, she tears the slip with the girl tribute's name.
And she has to redraw.
The tension, and boom, Haymitch's name. Talk about a twist.
You could just feel the shock, the disbelief.
Woodbine's mother and Lenore, they jump up trying to stop the peacekeepers.
And Haymitch, he tries to protect Lenore.
His instincts kicking in. And then it hits him. I'm a tribute in the Hunger Games. In a few days, I'll die in the arena.
Chillin'.
Total devastation in District 12, but Drusilla and Plutarch, the other Capitol rep, they're just focused on getting the right reaction shots for the cameras. It's all entertainment to them.
They're completely detached.
And then the train pulls away, and Lenore, she lets out this wail, this scream. Grief, rage. It's her final gift to him. What really struck you about Haymitch and Lenore's relationship?
It's their strength in the face of, well, everything. In a place designed to break them down, they find connection, they question, they resist, even in the smallest ways.
Yeah, powerful stuff. And then the train journey. It's like Haymitch is really entering this Hunger Games world now. He meets the other tributes, Luella McCoy, Maisley Donner.
And Wyatt Callow.
Right, Wyatt. Each of them so different. Luella, she's so innocent. She offers an alliance right away.
Doesn't even understand the brutality she's about to face.
And Maisley, she's defiant from the start, rejecting the capital provisions, even her Mockingjay pin at first.
The pin that Lenore loved so much.
And then no escort for District 12, no stylist, no mentor waiting for them. They're completely overlooked. Haymitch is just left with his grief, his fear.
And then Mags arrives.
Mags, a victor from District 4. She's their mentor, along with Wires, a past victor from District 3.
And Mags, she shows this empathy, especially towards Luella.
It actually triggers Haymitch to break down. You see the weight of it all on him, the responsibility. It's surprising, coming from a career victor like Mags.
Right. Maybe even victors from the wealthier districts see the cruelty of the games, on some level.
It's possible. And then there's Ampert, the tribute from District 3. He suggests forming a non-career alliance, calling themselves the newcomers.
Strength in numbers, right?
Exactly. And Mags, she actually gives Haymitch advice on alliances, even though she was a career tribute herself.
Maisley and Wyatt, they agree to join. But Haymitch, he's conflicted, regrets some of the things he said to them before. And as training begins, you see that District 12 is still an afterthought, always arriving last, lacking resources.
Yeah, the careers have it so much easier, but the newcomers, they stick together. You see a bond forming. Maisley, she's really good at crafting, using chords. It's surprising.
And there's this one moment where Haymitch is looking at all the peacekeepers in the training center, so many of them compared to the tributes, and he thinks, what if? What if they all rebel?
Flicker of rebellion.
And then Plutarch shows up. He starts asking Haymitch these pointed questions about District 12 and why they seem so submissive to the capital. It's like he's testing the water, seeing if there's any dissent.
Testing for those rebellious sparks.
And then Luella dies, even before the games begin. It's senseless. And Plutarch, he offers his condolences, but it's all so fake, so hollow.
Typical capital behavior.
And Haymitch, he decides they need a strategy. They need to present themselves as steady, smart, trustworthy. Not what the capital expects from District 12.
Playing the game even before they enter the arena.
Ampert's enthusiasm for the alliance is really infectious.
He's a good leader.
Yeah.
And his connection to BT, the District 3 victor, becomes important later on.
And Maisley makes Ampert this braided necklace, a symbol of their unity.
A nice gesture.
Yeah.
And then BT slips Haymitch this little packet, secretly.
What's in it?
Coins, nails, small things, but potentially very useful in the arena. It shows BT's thinking ahead, strategizing.
The newcomers decide they're going to go after the careers, turn the tables.
A bold move. And in their interviews, they emphasize their group, their strength in numbers. They're not backing down.
But then we see fake Luella. In her interview, she's wrapped in this snake, saying these awful things against the capital. It's so disturbing.
A complete 180 from the sweet girl we knew. Clearly, the capital's done something to her.
Manipulated her.
Haymitch, in his interview, he decides to play the bad news angle. He even talks about his low training score, maybe trying to lower expectations.
And Maisley, of course, she can't resist making fun of capital fashion.
Always the rebel. And then Wire suggests they wear black for the tribute parade. The prep team is totally confused. Black. It's not the usual Capitol style.
But then Effie steps in and helps them.
Effie Trinket.
Yeah, she helps them get styled in black. It's so unexpected. Even Drusilla is speechless.
Then things get really interesting. Haymitch is summoned to meet President Snow, and Plutarch's there too. Snow's putting on this act like he's weak, but it's clearly a power play. So manipulative. And Haymitch, he drinks the milk Snow offers him, even though he suspects it's poisoned. Talk about guts.
A bold move. And Snow, he talks about District 12 like it's nothing. Just coal dust and miners soaked in rot gut liquor. He has no respect for them at all.
Fake Luella keeps appearing, and it's so unsettling. But Wires and Mags, they show her kindness. They see that she's a victim too.
They have compassion. Then BT reveals his plan. He wants to drown the arena by destroying the electrical system.
A risky plan.
But Hamish remembers what Lenore told him about sparking rocks. And he realizes he has a flint striker.
A flint striker. Where did he get that?
He's had it for a while. And then they start talking about jabberjays and mockingjays. It explains fake Luella's behavior. She's a jabberjay, repeating words she's been forced to learn.
So the Capitol's using her as a weapon.
Exactly. BT asks Haymitch to try and recruit District 9 to their alliance. They need all the help they can get. Maisily, though, she's not so keen on the alliance. She says she'd rather go into the arena alone.
She likes to do things her own way. Very independent. Haymitch is torn. BT's plan is dangerous. And President Snow's threat is still looming over him.
What if he fails?
What will happen to his family? Wyatt, he's analyzing the betting odds, trying to figure out their chances. He's got a good mind for strategy. And Wires, she encourages him, tells him intelligence is a weapon too.
And Maisily, even during interview practice, she can't help but criticize Capitol fashion.
She's never going to fit in with the Capitol crowd. Mags is worried about fake Luella. It shows how deeply this manipulation affects everyone involved.
It's heartbreaking. And then Plutarch gives Haymitch these cryptic warnings. No more implicit submission, he says. Blow that water tank sky high.
Sounds like Plutarch has his own plans. Maybe he wants to see the Capitol shaken up a bit.
He also has this conversation with Effie about appearances and maintenance. It really shows how superficial the Capitol is, how obsessed they are with controlling how things look.
They care more about image than reality.
And fake Luella, she sings this haunting song that Haymitch doesn't recognize, adds to the mystery and the unease.
Then finally, they're in the hovercraft, heading to the arena. Haymitch thinks about Lenore, what he's fighting for, what he stands to lose.
He's carrying so much with him.
As soon as they're in the arena, Haymitch checks his supplies, and he notices something. There's no light bulb for the potatoes. That seems like a small detail, but...
Maybe it's a clue.
Or maybe the game makers are just messing with them. Mags told him to look for clues to understand the arena, and then Haymitch gets sick. He thinks the air or the water might be poisoned.
Another layer of danger.
They announce Wyatt's death. Haymitch feels guilty, like he should have stayed with the newcomers. And then these mutant rabbits appear. Haymitch has to test them to see if they're poisonous too.
The arena is full of traps.
And then out of nowhere, fake Luella finds him. Her camouflage is gone. It throws a wrench in Haymitch's plans. He realizes the food in their packs might be clues too. He tries to use his flint striker, but it doesn't work with just any rock.
I'm just so frustrated.
Another tribute dies. The clock is ticking. Finally, Haymitch figures it out. He finds a pink rock, and the flint striker works. He lights a fire.
A small victory.
He decides he needs to find a mutt portal, a place where the mutts come and go. He can track them back to their source. Fake Luella is fixated on these flowers, bee balm. It seems to trigger memories for her. And then she's killed. Brutally.
It's awful.
Haymitch yells at the game makers. Murderers, he calls them. He's heartbroken and furious. He finds a butterfly, bush berm, another potential clue. Then Amber appears. He tells Haymitch they need him back. The Alliance is struggling without him.
They need their leader.
They find a burning boot near a gas plant berm, another piece of the puzzle. Amber shows Haymitch how he can use his fuse as a weapon. And then finally, Haymitch reaches the water tank. He plants the explosive.
BD's plan is in motion.
But then rodent mutts attack. And just as Haymitch sets off the explosive, flooding the arena, a volcano erupts. And toxic winds start blowing. It's chaos. Haymitch realizes the generator's still running, so the arena isn't completely disabled. BT's plan worked, but only partially. He remembers what Mag said about protecting her district partner. He decides he has to try and save Maisily and the others.
He can't leave them behind.
He runs into a career tribute from District 4. They form an uneasy alliance just to survive. More career tributes die. The balance of power is shifting. Haymitch and Maisley find a place to camp, but their supplies are running low. Haymitch starts thinking about the hedge, the edge of the arena.
What's he planning?
It's a risky idea. Maisley is amazing. She creates a rainwater collector and a glass tube. They're both so resourceful. They have a terrifying encounter with a porcupine mutt, another strange, deadly creature. They meet up with Silka and some other tributes, but then they realize some of those tributes are actually game makers in disguise.
Wow, they're really rigging the games.
Maisley kills the game makers with poison darts, a direct attack on the Capitol's control. The clearing is bombed, and Haymitch and Maisley barely escape. Haymitch decides to stay outside the arena boundaries, but Maisley goes back in.
A difficult choice.
And then, the pebble Haymitch found earlier, it comes back. It's part of a message from Lenore. Orange paint. Haymitch realizes she's been with him all along, in his thoughts and his actions. He remembers his promise to her. And then, he's captured, taken back to the Capitol.
What happens to him then?
He's imprisoned. He worries about BT, mags, and wires. What will the Capitol do to them for helping him? He's taken back to the Capitol, and it's all these fake celebrations. Nothing feels real after what he's been through.
The Capitol's so good at pretending.
Plutarch warns Haymitch about controlling the narrative. The footage of the games is edited, manipulated to fit the Capitol's version of events. Haymitch asks about his family, about Lenore, but Plutarch's answers are vague.
He's keeping secrets.
The train journey back to District 12 is somber. They're carrying the coffins of the tributes who died, including Luella. And when Haymitch gets home,
It's a nightmare.
his house is on fire, his mother and brother are dead, and then he finds out Lenore was poisoned too. Capitol gumdrops. It's too much. He starts having nightmares, can't escape the trauma. He turns to alcohol to numb the pain.
It's so sad.
He meets with Lenore's uncles, with Kaysen. Everyone's grieving. And then he finds Lenore's hidden message. Capitol, no reaping. You promised me. It's a call to action.
It's her legacy.
The victory tour is a blur. Haymitch is still grieving, but he's also defiant. He keeps dreaming about Lenore. And the book ends with this scene. Haymitch wakes up years later, and he's in his old bed with his mother and Prim.
But it's just a dream.
A bittersweet reminder of what he's lost. This deep dive into Sunrise on the Reaping was intense, right?
Absolutely. We saw so much of Haymitch's early life, his connection with Lenore, his first experience with the games, his losses. It all shapes him into the man he becomes later on.
The book is about rebellion, survival, love, and trauma. It sets the stage for everything that comes after. It gives us a new understanding of Haymitch, of the world of Panem.
It really makes you think.
So what about you? What stood out to you the most? How do you think Haymitch and Lenore's relationship reflects the spirit of resistance in District 12? And what about the Capitol's manipulation? How does it impact the districts? What forms of rebellion do you see, big and small? And how do you think this experience shapes Haymitch into the mentor we meet later in the series?
Those are some great questions. And we encourage you to pick up Sunrise on the Reaping and explore these themes for yourself. It's a powerful story, and one that will stay with you long after you finish reading.
Definitely worth a read.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with another book you wish you had time for. Until then, happy reading.
Or listening.
Or listening.